Hey guys, welcome to today's tutorial. Today is a little bit of a different one, potentially something that you haven't done at home, and that is the dumbbell shoulder fly. Really interesting exercise. Now, I want it to be known that if you have shoulder issues, then I would steer clear of this particular exercise, purely because in which or the degree of loading that it will do on your shoulder joint. If you have unhealthy shoulders, then I'd probably steer clear and think about targeting this exercise in a different way. However, if you are healthy shoulders, it is paramount that you set this up properly, because you do expose yourself in a very vulnerable position for your shoulders. So you've got to make sure that your technique is bang on. I would strongly suggest doing higher reps with a much lighter weight to really get your technique down pat. Always technique first, and make sure that everything is sound before you start thinking about going through our progression, which is what our acronym STEP is all about: stability, tension, execution, and then your performance comes last. Okay, with that being said, let's dive deep into our shoulder fly. Now, we're going to set this exercise up exactly how we would with our dumbbell shoulder press. So we'll go through the exact same motions with flicking the weight up off our knees up to our shoulders, pressing it up and locking our shoulders in. So again, our stability point, what we are looking to do is either place our feet just in front and think about pushing force back into the bench to shore up our hips, or you can place your feet underneath your backside and be able to keep the stability through there. Honestly, for this particular exercise, just the way in which the weight is going to travel, stability, a wider stance will give you potentially greater stability. So I would suggest going a wider stance, pushing back. But again, it's a comfort thing for you, whatever you feel most locked in and in control with your lower body. Now, remember, with our shoulder press, we want to keep 3 points of contact. We're going to keep our head, we're going to pull our shoulder blades back and down. Now, the reason why we do that, especially for this exercise, is to allow our joint to move really freely and comfortably. If we are up nice and tall like so and start doing this exercise, you're going to feel it really jammed up in your shoulders. So paramount that you pull your shoulder blades back and down and create a flat back in order to fly from. So what am I referring to as a flat back? This is an over-exaggeration, but think about our scapula sits on our back like so, okay, or our shoulder blade sits on our back like so. And our lats attach at this bottom point here. I want you to pull those lats down and think about putting this into your back pocket so it creates a nice flat back. So you're going to pull your shoulder blades back and down. So it's going to look something like this and down. Okay, so that's what I want you to do. So again, set your feet nice wide, shoulder blades are going to go back and down, create a nice flat back, and my head's going to be nice and connected to the bench. From here, the dumbbells will have potentially been at this position. We're going to press it up and we're going to start in here. Now, what we're going to do from this position is we're going to keep our hands in a neutral position, come out nice and wide for our elbows to be just below our armpits or in line with our armpits. Go as low as your shoulder mobility will allow, and also go as low as your tension will allow, okay? So it is paramount with this that we're not looking for the stretch at this particular starting phase. It's about keeping that tension on through that muscle and making sure that we're not loading that joint in an uncomfortable position. So again, shoulder blades back and down, hands in neutral position. We're going to come out. Now for me, just below my shoulder, just below my armpits, I feel that tension still. I could probably go a little bit deeper, but for today, we'll just go elbows just below armpits, come back up and back down again. Okay, now you're going to notice that my hands aren't coming all the way to the midline, because gravity, if I was to put it in the dumbbells in the inside, you can see that the inside of my hand now is inside the line of my shoulders. Okay, so I'm losing tension through these shoulders in this position. This is almost no man's land. So I want to be just outside my shoulders joint line. So if I was to draw a straight line up, I want to be sitting just outside that line. Okay, so let's go through it with the dumbbells. Again, we're going to start up on our knees. We're going to flick, 1, 2. Make sure my feet are nice and stable. I'm pushing slightly back. My shoulder blades are back and down, creating a flat back, pressing up. From this position, neutral hands, okay, and I'm going to come out nice and wide and up and in. 1, 2, 3. And this is how we want to do it. Now what I want you to think about too is just doing, that was a really bad dismount, bring it to your shoulders or stay at the top, down your shoulders and back down, okay? That was because it was light and I was being lazy. Don't do that. At the top, what I want you to think about doing too is slightly bring your pinkies in. You just feel those shoulder blade, that anterior delt really pop and really come alive. Now, in regards to placement within your program of this particular exercise, I would place it alongside the likes of a front raise or, well, yeah, probably a front raise to be honest. It's probably not the most necessary exercise because of all the pressing that we do. We tend to blow up our anterior deltoid anyway. So I wouldn't put particular importance on this particular exercise. However, for a bit of fun, and fun is just as important as following a strict diet plan and all the rest of that stuff, because without a bit of fun, you're probably not going to do it. I know I wouldn't do it, okay? So if you want to throw this in towards the end for just a bit of fun, a bit of lightheartedness, by all means do so. And probably err on the side of caution and go a bit more volume. So think about, you know, maybe reps of 20 with a lighter weight rather than say a strong 6, okay? Just because, so, all right, so our shoulder joint, the reason why we have an armpit is because there's not too many tendons that are running in line with that armpit, right? And so, like, you know, we have a big tendon that is here, we have our rear delt tendons in there, but in regards to what's underneath our armpit, there's not a great deal of structural support. There's no muscle there to protect you. So this is why a lot of, say, AFL players, when they go to smother and they land on the ground, the impact of their hands coming up and the force of their body pushing down will pop shoulders out, and you see them run out like this all the time, right? So if we mimic that same position, and then if I'm coming out like this and the weight's in my hand and I'm not quite secure, I'm not quite there with my stability, then you potentially expose yourself to a bit of injury. Now, with that being said, you can see that the bench that I've set up here isn't directly straight up, it's actually slightly tilted back, and this is so that when I'm in this position here and coming down, I am nice and safe and secure. The weight is traveling nice and evenly between in the midline of my body. If I come all the way up to this position here, okay, and I try and do the same thing, that weight is now on the outside the front of my body because just naturally the way the shoulder sits, and you're going to expose yourself to a far greater risk and chance of injury. So again, just make sure that we're slightly back with our bench, we're nice and secure, and we're loading those shoulders up correctly before we go ahead and execute this lift. I know this tutorial's probably sounded a bit of a downer, and there's so much risk to reward. That's because there is. However, that being said, it's a bit of fun, and executed correctly, you're going to have a blast. You're going to feel these shoulders blow right up, and you're going to walk around with really, really big shoulders and anterior delts. So by all means, give it a go. Have a bit of fun with it. Be safe, and yeah, I hope you picked out a couple of tricks and tips with this particular tutorial.